All right, what's going on, everyone? I'm thatJAWN, and I'm here with,
CharlieMaths.
and I'm here to ask him a couple questions about how he got into hip hop and what he's all about. So, first question right off the bat: when and how did you get into rap?
So basically, what started for me was I actually found Eminem's "Cleaning Out My Closet" through a Soy Fresh CD, and I was instantly captivated.
A classic.
Yeah, and there's also an Australian artist that got me into it because I didn't know people from Australia did it. So there was this guy called Joel Turner and the Modern Day Poets, and it was like a mix of beatboxing, rap production, and raps, and that gave me the courage to do my first ever rap performance, which was beatboxing at school at a talent show. And
How old were you when you did that?
I was about 12 years old, man.
Oh, is there any video?
I wish, but I don't
If
know.
there is, we'll attach it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good experience performing to like 300 and so kids and stuff. And
Oh, that's a pretty big audience. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be a little nervous doing anything at that age in front of that many people.
okay.
So, did you know that hip hop, or was it more the beatboxing? Like, how did you transition that into writing raps and performing raps and
I just liked hip
producing?
hop. It was just something that was gonna be like ignited, like
Yeah, let the,
yeah. So yeah. Just one day, I decided to do a rap performance at 17 at school. So yeah, I don't know. I was just writing, and I decided to perform at school, and I was a bit all over the place. Like the rhymes weren't perfect Maltese, and like it was someone else's.
it's good that you
beat.
recognize.
I didn't know
that,
how to
though.
produce beats, and I rapped for a crowd as well at school, and it was a bit awkward as it is as
It always
in those
is starting
teenage
out.
days.
Yeah,
But I
you're not a
actually,
teenager if it's
I
not
actually
awkward.
I yeah, I actually did that, and that gave me motivation to continue. I was like, this is something I can get better at. I just started
That's
looking at all the
awesome.
websites, because back in the day there were a few websites teaching people the basics of rap, and started studying like lyrics and stuff like that, and trying to better myself with the craft.
That's actually that's an interesting way to go about it, and I guess that speaks to, like, the generations. Like, I'm 36, and like for me, it was like going on the VHS recording Rosa Parks by Outkast or like My Name Is by Eminem, and then coming home, pausing it, writing down as many lyrics as I could, remembering it, pausing it, writing it down, and then trying to memorize it and replaying it until I could rap along, and then buy the cassette, which was edited, and then listen to it in the car traveling to. My parents were divorced and soccer games, so I was always being shuttled around somewhere. So I always had my headphones on, and it's funny. People ask like, "Oh, did you study rap?" And I always say like, "Oh no, I didn't like study like you kind of studied, but like and like you're kind of doing now, but like I just figured if I listen to good hip hop, it's like studying." Like listening to good rap, if you listen to bad rap and then someone asks you to write a rap, it's probably not going to be that good. But if you listen to good rap and you feed good stuff in, I always say fire in, fire out. So when my friends and I made a recording, we made a beat on GarageBand, which we're going to get into your production in a second, because you also
Okay.
produce, which is
Yeah.
the MF Doom of all of it, which makes me jealous because I can't produce. And Doom's my favorite, and I
Yeah.
can't do beats like him either. But yeah, we made a beat between like four of us in the back of like a TV production lab, just messing around, just like four, and we're like white suburban kids, like, and just white rappers are a thing in America, and they still were back in 2006 for sure. You just got put in the Eminem box or Asher Roth or whatever. And so we looked around like who's gonna rap over this beat, and I kind of got picked because they all listened to like things that you can't say, and like whereas I listened to like underground hip hop and like Lupe Fiasco and early Lupe, MF Doom, like that. So I just felt like it was natural, and even with the internship, like I've still wanted to stick to writing. But you, on the other hand, have dove full headfirst into both writing, rapping, but also producing. So do you want to talk about how you got the production side got involved?
Okay. So basically, I started releasing videos, like rap videos, recordings on beats and videos, sometimes other people's beats, and then I slowly got into the rap community in Sydney and stuff. And someone told me, I asked someone, how do you produce rap beats? And he's like, you can just do the trial version with FL Studio. And yeah, and that's what I did. I just did the trial
From
version.
humble beginnings.
Yeah, I didn't really know if I
Yeah.
become serious, and
It's
and later-
expensive. It's an expensive hobby to just dabble with if you don't know if you like
yeah,
it.
yeah. Later on, I got a license and everything like that because I really like that stuff. So yeah. So
How do you feel that influences the way you write your music? I guess like does it affect the way you like usually make the beat first or the rights? Do you write first or does it depend or?
Usually I would go with the instrumental first, but there are times where I would write the rap stuff first.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that I am jealous.
Just gotta
because,
go with the flow, hey?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to be able to make my own beats and build my own pockets to rap in, but that's awesome. So I guess what I always love this question because I never like asking someone who they sound like because sometimes people can say, oh, I sound a bit like I like when you kind of gotta tell people quickly. I'll say like MF Doom and Eminem and Earl Sweatshirt in a blender is my style or whatever, but like I want to be like thatJAWN. I want to be me. I don't want to be someone else. So
Yeah.
instead of asking you like who you want to be the next, I'd rather say who were your influences earlier, like when you first started, but then who became your influences
Later.
do you still have like new people that you hear and you're like, oh, that kid? Because I remember when I heard Earl Sweatshirt, I was like 25 and he was like 16, and I was like, holy crap! If this guy's this good at 16, he's gonna be insane. Because he was so much better than I was at 16. I was like, he's gonna be an absolute beast, which in my opinion he is. But anyway, so how did that work out? Like what were your early? I guess what were your original
So
influences?
obviously, early influences was like maybe a bit of Eminem and Kanye.
What era Eminem? Because that's important. Because for me, when I say Eminem as an influence, I'm talking a little bit of Infinite, but really Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, both on cassette, and then Eminem Show is the first CD I think I got off of my Discman.
I'd say old school, Curtain Call Eminem.
Same,
you know?
same ones.
Yeah.
See, Encore is where I cut my cord with him, but in my opinion, he's been like average since then.
Okay.
Just kind of doing this, in my opinion, but
I think he's still doing good now, but
it's
yeah,
subjective.
it's kind of different because all those old CDs were around when I was like in high school and college and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's all about how old you are when you hear the song too. Like it affects
suppose, or-
your vibe. Yeah, no, for sure. So, is there anyone new that you've been listening to in any genre? Because you're someone that, as a producer, I'm assuming you have other genres you listen to outside of hip hop. So, what do you like outside of hip hop?
So one rapper that I've been getting into is Asheroth.
Okay, yeah.
I've been listening to the Retro Hash CD, and
You got me to go
Very
back and check
surfy.
out that he had
very
resurfaced.
surfy style music. I saw it around, but I didn't give it a chance until recently. And then some house artists that I really like are
Okay.
Komodo and Chord Hell.
What kind
And,
of how would you classify that subgenre as like EDM or is that like I don't know, and I
I think
like
Chord Hell is kind of crunk, but Komodo
Okay.
is kind of like your mainstream house, but maybe a little bit more different and niche sounding. I
Would
find
you-
myself listening to that.
So the only thing I think close to that is, do you know Bass Nectar? I used to
Bass
rap
Nectar.
over Bass Nectar at parties, and it was like house dubstep, kind of like it was kind of around the Skrillex time, but it didn't sound like Skrillex.
Yeah. I do know the name sounds familiar. There might have been a song I know, but I'll have to look it up and get back to you. On
Yeah,
that.
I'll send you some links for sure, and I'll have to get some off you.
Yeah.
But so obviously, as people are gonna hear in your music, like Australia born and bred, and yet obviously we know we live. You know, not everyone sees things the way that maybe we all probably should.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you find that your Sri Lankan heritage influences your music at all, or influences people's perceptions, or is that something you worry about, or?
Okay. Absolutely, like it's where I'm
Absolutely, that was a very to the point answer.
But yeah, I grew up in Oz and the Oz culture, and
How do you say it on the new song? Born in Australia. Oh, skin tones is lame.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
but he's born in Australia. Yeah, that's the point. He's born and raised in Australia, but people ask you these questions for no
yeah,
reason.
and I might have said like I'm come from the land down under, but my roots come from Sri Lanka. I don't know how I remembered that, but
There you go.
I think I said that in a song that's probably coming up later.
Yeah. Oh, he's got so many songs coming out and
okay.
accompanying videos and all kinds of things that we're gonna see.
That's
So,
good.
I guess the next thing would be I gotta ask Kendrick or Drake.
Kendrick, of course.
I'm glad that it was an easy answer because to me it represented more than just like two artists and like who do you like more. To me it represented like the culture of lyricism and focusing on your message versus the more mainstream poppy side of it. And the fact that Kendrick kind of beat Drake at his own game by taking over the pop charts, getting his first #1 single, winning all his awards, getting the halftime show, dancing on his grave, say Drake, you know what I mean? Like, he really just fully got, like, I've never seen anyone get buried like that. And it's not like Ian Pac where it's like, yeah, I slept with your girl. It's like, you're a terrible parent who hid a child from the world. Like, it's getting heavy now. So I've been in a few beefs. Have you ever been in any rap beefs or had, because I know people love to hate in hip hop, as you can tell. Even the most popular videos by even Eminem are gonna have comments that are like, this is terrible, blah, 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 blah. Half the songs I put out, the first comment is telling me how bad I am, and I just thank them for listening. Thanks for the listens. But yeah, do you find that hip hop's more aggressive and different in that way?
Like, so you're talking about beef, me in beef?
Yeah, personally, and if you've seen it or.
I'd say back in those days, hip hop was new, so there was a lot of tension. But I do believe now that hip hop has gotten more popular, there's still tension. And personally, with like rap stuff, they don't like there'd be stuff like people putting comments and stuff saying, you suck," and
the generic,
making it kind of nice, but and what are you gonna do with your career and all that?
Oh
BS,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, what are you gonna be, a rapper? You think like what percent of people make it as a rapper?
How's your career going? Blah 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 blah.
As if there's other ways. As if you can't, as if you can't do other things, or you apply it in other ways, like we are here. You know what I mean? Like, we like doing mentoring, or there's so many ways to work in hip hop. I talked to Mickey Fax, who runs Pendulum Inc., and that's a hip hop school where Lupe Fiasco and KRS-One came in and spoke to the class about different styles of rhyming. It's becoming very mainstream for sure.
Yeah.
Is that something you've noticed over your career
Hip hop is
span?
becoming more mainstream.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
As far as statistics, I think it has. I know Billboard, I think it was 2017 when pop technically stopped being pop because it stands for popular, and pop was the most popular genre as far as record sales, which isn't how you judge skill, obviously, in my opinion. Because if you do, then Iggy Azalea would be like Australia's most talented rapper, which I think most people would disagree with. Not because she's a woman, just because a lot of other reasons. But yeah, it can be interesting like that. But anyway, to get it back to less time specific things like Kendrick and Drake, I guess what's next for you as far as plans, and that can be like albums, singles, like long term, short term. Like what are you thinking? What's next for CharlieMaths?
I'd like to release more tracks, more music videos, and more content and more rap related stuff. That's what's like on my mind at the moment.
How do you find there's a balance between hip hop and then the other genres that you blend in, that you kind of move around between? Or
Definitely, there's definitely a balance. Like I mean, you have to look at other things and stuff for things to grow,
Exactly. How are you going to create? I mean, I've heard a lot of people discovered them through the TV show Justified, but Gangsta Grass. If anyone's curious what bluegrass hip hop sounds like, bluegrass is like the fiddles and the old country blowing on bottles, but it's such a fast beat per BPM basically that you get some really interesting sounds over it. But yeah, fusing genres is a great way to do it. But I've heard a lot of your music. Obviously, I've been involved in some of it, and you definitely have a style that's unique as far as not just the way you meld your production with your lyrics, but also with how you approach the lyrics. And you're better than I am, I think, at keeping on topic sometimes, because I struggle with that. But you're good at kind of keeping the rhythm of the song. And I like how none of your songs have that same kind of classic. Well, some obviously do. Well, I'm sure there's one that must, but like the classic, like 8-bar chorus, 4-bar bridge, 16-bar hook, 8-bar chorus, 16-bar hook, 8-bar chorus, 16-bar hook, 8-bar chorus. That's the end. Some of them go for longer, some of them go for shorter, some of them have longer verses, some of them, they're different length verses. Like, it seems like you like to experiment. Has that always been in your nature musically, like the experimental side of it?
Sure. I like to experiment with music rather than play it safe.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a great place to end it. That's what you're gonna get when you listen to his kind of music, is not someone that's just gonna do the same thing. That's why when they say, "Oh, there's 1,000 other rappers," yeah, there are, but not 1,000 of other rappers that sound like CharlieMaths. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks
of course.
a lot, dude.
Anytime. And we're gonna wrap it up. But thanks for tuning in, and peace.
Peace out.
You can see more CharlieMaths. We'll put it all in the description and the links below.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.